There exists an invisible boundary within every person that most cross daily without even noticing. This line separates your authentic self from the version the world pressures you to become. We consistently diminish ourselves, making concessions to gain acceptance or avoid conflict. It begins subtly. You remain silent when someone interrupts you. You agree with opinions that contradict your own to maintain harmony. You claim everything is fine when it clearly isn't, fearing you might inconvenience others. Gradually, this pattern becomes your normal way of living. Before long, you exist primarily for others' comfort rather than your own purpose. The ancient Stoics identified this human tendency centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius observed in his private writings that we paradoxically prioritize others' opinions over our own self-regard. We verbally affirm our self-worth while surrendering our dignity for minimal social approval. Your self-respect sets the price others must pay to engage with you. Consider how frequently you revisit conversations, mentally rehearsing what you should have expressed. How often have you felt the sharpness of disrespect, yet swallowed your words to avoid confrontation? This marks where the issue originates. When you diminish your presence, when you pretend to be less intelligent, capable, or significant than you truly are, you instruct the world how to treat you. Reality rarely treats you better than what you demand through your actions. The Stoic way isn't about developing arrogance or emotional detachment. It concerns establishing such deep roots in your identity that nobody can diminish you without your conscious permission. True importance in life doesn't equate to wealth or fame. It means living in a manner where you matter fundamentally to yourself first. It requires possessing an internal code you refuse to violate, not for affection, money, or belonging. Here's the difficult reality. The instant you begin lowering your standards for others, you abandon self-respect. When you stop respecting yourself, you implicitly invite others to follow suit. The Stoics viewed this as a crucial virtue matter. Epictetus taught that you should never exchange your integrity for anything insignificant. If something costs your self-respect, the price is too high regardless of potential returns. This video explores 5 Stoic teachings that will help you maintain your standards permanently. These aren't abstract, inspirational quotes. They're practical, clear, deeply human truths applicable to your daily life. Starting immediately, you'll learn how to maintain your position without aggression, value your voice without constant external validation, and become someone who naturally earns quiet respect. Stoicism's beauty lies in explaining not just what to do, but why it matters profoundly. When you comprehend the philosophy, you recognize this transcends social victories. It concerns safeguarding the most vital relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Visualize briefly a version of yourself who never needs to justify their value. Someone who doesn't contract when challenged. Someone capable of silence when appropriate, speech when necessary, and departure when respect is no longer present. That version isn't fantasy, it's an attainable skill. But only if you stop reducing yourself and start living by a personal code that nobody else can alter. By this video's conclusion, you'll possess 5 definitive Stoic lessons, anchoring you in strength, dignity, and internal significance. These teachings don't concern impressing others. They concern commanding respect by never betraying your core self. Remember, the respect you demonstrate toward yourself establishes the cost the world must pay to interact with you. Before we start, I want you to make a commitment, not to me, but to yourself. Commit that, from today forward, you will no longer minimize yourself for people who wouldn't expand themselves for you. If you're prepared, stay through the entire presentation. Don't skip any segment because each lesson builds upon the previous one. If this message already resonates as something you needed to hear, then like this video, comment below, share it with someone who's been surrendering their self-respect, and subscribe to Stoic Mindset Mastery so we can continue this journey together. If you're with me, comment, "I honor my worth today." First, cease justifying yourself to everyone. People frequently diminish themselves unconsciously by over-explaining their choices, actions, even their aspirations. This might appear polite or like attempting to foster understanding, but truthfully, when you constantly rationalize your decisions, you relinquish your personal power. The Stoic teacher Epictetus advised that if you desire to write, then write. He didn't suggest explaining your writing to everyone for their endorsement. The Stoics recognized that our conduct should stand independently. The more you explain yourself, the more you invite others to critique your logic, question your motivations, and sow uncertainty in your mind. Over-explaining typically stems from insecurity, the subtle conviction that your decisions lack validity until someone else validates them. You're essentially seeking permission for your existence, but through this behavior, you surrender your authority. You tell the world you distrust your own judgment without external confirmation. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Not everyone will support your decisions. Not everyone will comprehend them, and that's acceptable. You don't owe your life path to their understanding. If someone dislikes your actions, that represents their emotional responsibility, not yours to resolve. Consider the immense time and energy expended justifying your journey to people not even traveling with you. You explain career changes, relationship conclusions, lifestyle transformations, new pursuits. Yet frequently, those you explain yourself to wouldn't support you during failure. Stoicism teaches that tranquility comes from focusing on controllable elements, and others' opinions remain uncontrollable. Every moment spent making someone understand you steals time from actually living your truth. When you stop over-explaining, you declare, "I trust myself sufficiently to proceed without your approval." This represents powerful self-respect, requiring not arrogance but clarity. You needn't be rude or dismissive, but you must recognize your life isn't a courtroom where every decision requires defense before a jury. Observe people carrying quiet confidence. They don't inundate you with reasons for their actions. They simply act. Because they act without justification, people naturally take them more seriously. Understand that over-explaining extends beyond speech. It lowers your position. Imagine presenting an idea during a meeting. If you immediately follow with numerous justifications, it signals uncertainty. But presenting it simply and stopping projects assurance. Stoicism simplifies this process. Know your values. Make choices aligned with those values. Let your actions speak more loudly than your explanations. When grounded in what matters to you, you won't feel compelled to defend every selection. People may still judge, but their judgment will deflect off a stronger version of you. Next time you feel the impulse to explain yourself to someone requiring no explanation, pause. Ask yourself, is this person's comprehension necessary for my progress? If the answer is negative, your silence will prove more powerful than any explanation. Seneca recommended surrounding yourself with people who likely improve you. He didn't suggest seeking those who always understand you. Not everyone will comprehend you, and they needn't. What matters is that you comprehend yourself. The person constantly explaining themselves has handed their self-worth to others. The person acting with conviction has already established their importance, not through others' declarations, but by ceasing to live for external approval. If you want to stop diminishing yourself, begin here. Reduce your explanations. Speak when essential. Support your decisions without needing audience applause. Your life will immediately feel lighter, your presence stronger. Remember, significant people don't discuss being important. They live making it obvious. Now, type below if you're ready to trust yourself more deeply. I no longer justify my value. Second, never contend for anyone's attention. We frequently diminish ourselves by pursuing people who undervalue our presence in friendships, relationships, professional settings. We exert excessive effort, not for our objectives, but merely for recognition, selection, that feeling of mattering to someone. The painful truth: when you compete for attention, you silently communicate that their approval outweighs your dignity. Once you establish this dynamic, they will believe it. The Stoics possessed sharp insight here. Marcus Aurelius noted that our soul adopts the color of our thoughts. If your thinking constantly revolves around gaining notice or proving your value, your actions will reflect desperation, which rapidly diminishes perceived value. Genuine respect and connection cannot be manufactured. If someone recognizes your worth, they'll demonstrate it without your performing for them. If they don't, your efforts will never suffice, because they're not viewing you through the lens of your actual value. When you chase attention, you place yourself in a psychological auction where your worth becomes a bidding item. You grant someone else power to determine if you win or lose a dangerous position. The Stoics would argue you're allowing uncontrollable external factors to dictate your internal peace. Here's the trap. Sometimes you briefly secure their attention. They might respond suddenly, show interest, offer praise. But it's temporary because the foundation isn't respect, it's your continuous striving. The moment you stop trying, the connection weakens and the cycle resumes. This pattern is exhausting. It also trains you to measure yourself by attention received rather than the value you inherently provide. The Stoic approach involves complete removal from this competition. Don't even participate. If someone makes you feel you must struggle for their time or acknowledgement, that signals they don't perceive your true significance. Consider the most respected people you know. They don't ponder how to make others notice them. They focus on their mission, principles, growth. Consequently, people naturally gravitate toward them. Attention arrives as a byproduct of purposeful living, not as the primary goal. Instead of asking how to gain their attention, start questioning whether you even want attention from someone who doesn't value you without solicitation. Viewed this way, the answer becomes evident. Epictetus taught that self-improvement requires accepting being perceived as foolish sometimes. In other words, allow people to misunderstand your worth while you quietly develop it. The right people will recognize it without your advertising. This doesn't mean becoming cold or remote. It means ceasing to perform for others' interest. You can still engage and care, but stop linking your self-worth to their attention level. Importantly, people sense when you're attempting to win them over. Even concealed behind humor, favors, or excessive involvement, the energy remains detectable. And energy communicates more effectively than words. When you stop competing for attention, something remarkable occurs. You cease surrendering your power. You transition from "please acknowledge me" to "I know my identity and I won't shrink to become visible to you." Eventually, the right people will notice you effortlessly. Interestingly, those who previously overlooked you will wonder about your changed behavior. That's when you realize attention is inexpensive. What you truly need is respect, which only appears when you refuse to plead for it. If you want to live as someone important, understand this. Importance isn't bestowed by others' gaze. It's claimed first in your own mind. So stop running in a race you never entered. Stand firm. Let them pass if they choose. You're heading toward a different destination. Third, master departing without announcement. Most people equate strength with fighting, proving oneself, or winning debates. But genuinely, one of the purest strength forms involves simply walking away without declaration, without warning, without attempting to make the other person comprehend why. When you lower yourself, you often do so by remaining too long in undeserving situations. You stay hoping they'll change. You stay wanting them to finally recognize your value. You stay avoiding the appearance of quitting. But, truthfully, remaining in draining circumstances isn't loyalty, it's self-betrayal. The Stoics knew that sometimes the most brave action involves release. Seneca wrote that we should welcome those who improve us, noting the process is mutual. He's essentially saying, if a connection doesn't enhance your life or character, it's unworthy of maintenance. Departing isn't about coldness, it's about protecting your mind, dignity, and future. Here's why the absence of warning matters. If you warn people before leaving, you grant them opportunity to manipulate the situation. They might make temporary promises, alter behavior briefly, or say what you want to hear until you then revert to previous patterns. Leaving silently means you've already determined you've given enough of yourself. You don't require their understanding, agreement, or approval. You've recognized your energy is too precious to spend explaining why you choose peace over turmoil. Consider the dignity inherent in silence. No pleading, no drama, no final speech aimed at making them see. Just action. You depart. You progress. You reclaim your space. Those who genuinely cared will notice and contact you authentically. Those who didn't care won't revealing who belongs in your life. Stoicism teaches we shouldn't be controlled by uncontrollable factors. You cannot control whether someone respects you, treats you properly, or values your presence, but you can control whether you remain in that environment. When you choose to leave, you demonstrate to yourself that you take your worth seriously. Departing without announcement also internally transforms you. It teaches reliance on your own standards, not others' reactions. It strengthens your self-respect capacity. It shows you don't need permission to exit harmful situations. It also sends a message to them and yourself that you won't tolerate being treated as inferior. This doesn't mean impulsively cutting people off for minor errors. It means recognizing patterns. If someone repeatedly demonstrates they don't value you, believe them. When you believe them, act without waiting for them to transform into someone they're not. This principle applies beyond relationships to occupations, social groups, any environment consistently diminishing you. You needn't make public announcements or detailed explanations. Simply exit that space and enter one where you're respected and valued. This principle's beauty creates quiet importance. People notice you don't cling, you don't force entry, you don't beg for inclusion. Ironically, this increases their respect. Marcus Aurelius stated that the finest revenge involves being unlike whoever caused injury. In other words, you needn't fight, argue, or reciprocate disrespect. You transcend it through removal from their influence. Remember, each time you choose to leave something below your standards, you're not losing. You're preserving your most valuable possession, yourself. Please share this affirmation in the comments. My quiet departure demonstrates my strength. Fourth, guard your time like precious currency. Self-diminishment isn't always about words or relationships. Sometimes it concerns what you allow to consume your time. When you carelessly give away your hours, you silently tell the world your life lacks sufficient value to protect. The Stoics understood time represents life itself. Seneca observed that we don't have brief lives, we waste much of them. Each minute spent is an irreplaceable life fragment. Yet how often do we surrender it to draining people and activities? How often do we commit from guilt, habit, or fear of disappointing others, only to regret later? When you treat time as limitless, you invite others to do likewise. They'll call at all hours, request things they could do themselves, expect availability on their terms. If you always agree, they'll never appreciate your presence's true value because you've made it too inexpensive. Guarding time doesn't mean becoming selfish or unavailable. It means recognizing that saying yes to one thing always means refusing something else. Without intention, you might be refusing your own growth, peace, and aspirations. Stoicism teaches focusing on controllable factors, and your time is among the few you control. You decide where to place it, who receives it, what you create with it. Used wisely, it reflects self-respect. Consider this analogy. If someone gave you $86,400 to spend in one day, you'd spend carefully. You wouldn't give it to strangers or waste it on unimportant things. Yet, daily you receive 86,400 seconds, and most people spend them recklessly. When you don't value time, you accumulate regrets. You reflect realizing you gave hours, days, even years to unworthy pursuits. The Stoics would consider this a moral failure, not because you lived incorrectly, but because you lived unconsciously. Guarding time requires boundaries. You must become comfortable declining requests without justification. You must schedule personal time and treat it as seriously as meetings with important people because you are important. This also means eliminating time wasters, not just people but habits. Endless scrolling, pointless arguments, overcommitting to uninterested activities, these are unconscious self-diminishment methods. You might consider it 20 minutes here, an hour there, but these increments accumulate into a life where you gave your best to unimportant things. When you guard time, you notice something powerful. People start respecting it too. If they know you won't waste your own time, they're less likely to waste it for you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to act as if possessing 10,000 years. While you live, while you can be good. In our context, be good means use time wisely. Spend it on what strengthens you, brings peace, aligns with values. Don't diminish yourself through endless availability for things diverting you from your desired life. Before committing, ask, if this were my final week, would I still give time to this? If the answer is no, reconsider agreement. The more intentional your time use, the more meaningful your life feels, and the less you'll tolerate anything stealing from it. So guard time like gold. It's the only currency beyond recovery. If you're prepared to protect time like treasure, tell our community, my time is invaluable. I invest it purposefully. Fifth, speak sparingly, signify substantially. We frequently diminish ourselves through excessive talking, especially when speaking to fill silence, prove intelligence, or gain approval. Words possess power, but when scattered constantly, they lose impact. The Stoics highly valued restraint. Zeno of Citium, Stoicism's founder, believed speech should serve truth and purpose, not ego or impulse. Epictetus noted we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we might listen twice as much as we speak. More talking creates more opportunities for misunderstanding, distortion, or premature judgment. But crucially, excessive unintentional speech risks devaluing your own voice. Consider the people you most respect. Often they aren't conversation dominators. They listen, observe, then speak precisely. When they speak, you listen because they don't waste words. When you speak less, your words naturally carry greater authority. People notice that when you do speak, it's worth hearing. This generates quiet importance, not from manipulative withholding, but from intentionality. Speaking less also provides thinking time. Many people damage self-respect through emotional speech, unkeepable promises, regretted disclosures. The Stoics advocated pausing between stimulus and response, allowing mental space to filter unnecessary content before acting or speaking. This connects deeply to ceasing self-diminishment. When you speak without purpose, you're often attempting to prove something, filling space so people won't overlook you. This stems from fear of being ignored, misunderstood, forgotten. Truthfully, people remember silence more than noise. They remember the person remaining calm during chaos, not constantly self-defending, not energy wasting through explanations or gossip. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means allowing silence to serve you. By removing the need for constant speech, you let actions, presence, and consistency speak for you. Speaking less also represents discipline, and discipline embodies self-respect. It tells the world, I needn't reveal everything to prove my value. You'll see it through what I choose to share. Another benefit, you control your narrative. Less disclosure means less opportunity for others to control your story. You decide what's shared, when, and with whom. This self-control naturally commands respect. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if something isn't right, don't do it. If not true, don't say. It's a simple filter. Act only when right. Speak only when true. Imagine every word passing through that filter. Your communication would become stronger, cleaner, more impactful. Practically, apply this by pausing when feeling speech urge. Ask, is this necessary? Does it add value? Listen actively to understand, not just reply. Replace filler conversation with purposeful presence. Let calm confidence fill space instead of noise. Remember, silence can answer, establish boundaries, and make statements simultaneously. When you master speaking less but meaning more, you no longer pursue influence, you attract it. People will lean forward to hear your words. When you do speak, your words will carry the weight of self-knowing value. So instead of flooding rooms with noise for importance, embrace intentional silence's power. Let people feel your presence's strength before hearing your voice's sound. If you're ready to speak powerfully and purposefully, share below. My quietness contains power. My words hold significance. Self-diminishment rarely involves single, obvious moments. It's gradual erosion, small compromises here, silence is there, extra efforts for those who wouldn't reciprocate. Eventually, these moments accumulate until you gaze mirrorward, wondering why you feel invisible. The Stoics remind us that importance derives not from titles, applause, or volume. It comes from living by unbending principles. It comes from carrying yourself with quiet certainty that your worth isn't negotiable. Each lesson reminds that respect begins with you. If you want others treating you as important, you must first decide you are important, then live proving it without begging. Marcus Aurelius stated, you command your mind, not external events. Realizing this discovers strength. That's the core. You can't control others' perceptions, but you can control your self-perception. When you decide never to diminish yourself again, the world adjusts accordingly. If you've reached this video's conclusion, remember, your worth isn't something others can give or take. It's yours to protect, yours to live, yours to honor. Like this video, share it, comment your reflections, and subscribe to Stoic Mindset Mastery for further Stoic wisdom.